Oh man, a lot has happened since I last seen you guys here on Worlds TV's YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And so I want to talk about the disappointment that the Phoenix Suns are, especially getting humiliated in every sense of the word to the Dallas Mavericks, losing Game 7 on their own home floor, 123-90. Okay. First of all, give credit to the Dallas Mavericks. They played a hell of a game. Luka Doncic was spectacular. Dropped 27 in the first half. Finished with about 35. Everybody else on Dallas Mavericks stepped up. Spencer Dinwiddie finished with 30. He had a good game. Jalen Brunson, who's becoming the second star of that team, he finished with about 24. So Dallas was clicking on all cylinders. Their defense as well was very, very impactful. But going to the Phoenix Suns, who are arguably the top 5 favorite to win the NBA title, flat out choked that night. They flat out choked. You want to talk about gagging to the hardest degree. That is what the Phoenix Suns did. Okay. Nobody. This is how pathetic they were. Nobody on the Suns roster scored no more than 15 points. The closest who came to that was Cam Johnson, coming off the bench. Booker had 11. Chris Paul had 10. You are not going to win with your 2-star guns, your 2-star guards, shooting 3 of 14 and 4 of 8. That's not going to win you a basketball game at all. So they couldn't make any shots. They pick a bad day to not make any shots. They couldn't get really any contribution from their bench. DeAndre Ayton, we don't know what's going on with that situation. I mean, he's a free agent at the end of this season. There's been some discussions about him, whether he's going to remain or they're going to sign him to the max. Could there be a signing trade to another team that could use his services? But he looked lackadaisical. He did not seem interested in the Suns whatsoever. And so now you're looking at Phoenix like, damn, you guys were talked about to meet Golden State in the Western Conference Finals, the 2 most consistent teams in the West, and Phoenix blows it. And I tweeted this out. I said Chris Paul has to be the most unluckiest player in NBA history. He had two back-to-back great chances to win a championship, and he choked both of them. And he failed miserably. And I love Chris Paul. I think he's a top 5 point guard of all time. But at some point, you got to get it done. Chris Paul is now known for blowing the most 2-0 series lead in NBA history. He's lost his last 4 straight Game 7s. We all talked about how Chris Paul is clutch. He's a point guard. He's a floor general. But at some point, you got to get it done in the postseason. And Chris Paul has not gotten it done in the postseason. If we hold players like LeBron James to a high standard, Kevin Durant to a high standard, Hall of Fame players like that, Steph Curry, James Harden, who we criticize all the time, who are Hall of Fame type top 75 players of all time, Chris Paul deserves the fair share of the criticism. We all know how great he is. Don't matter how old you are. 37, look at what LeBron James is doing here, 19 at 37. He was top 2 in scoring at, almost 30 points a game. Now, I'm not saying how everybody could be a freak of nature like LeBron James, but it's how to take care of your body, your conditioning. And Chris Paul, it looked like as soon as he turned 37, he just dropped off a cliff and you don't know what happened. But, like again, I'm not going to disrespect Dallas because they had a hell of a game plan. Their defense was just like, you know what? We're going to tire out Chris Paul because he's the main focal point of their offense because he gets everybody going. Now, obviously, Devin Booker is the number 1 option, but who sets everybody up is CP3. Throw bodies at him. Throw Luka at him. Jalen Brunson. You know what I'm talking about? Those guys, because CP is an undersized point guard, so he's not going to be able really to see over those players. They had Reggie Bullock. You had Finney Smith. They were throwing bodies on top of bodies on top of bodies towards Chris Paul. They were attacking the pick and roll. So then neutralizing Devin Booker, who had to take some tough shots. Also neutralizing DeAndre Ayton, who couldn't really get going pretty much this whole series. So give credit to Dallas. They had a hell of a game plan defensively. Jason Kidd, he should be the coach of the postseason because he has blown everybody out the water. I mean, you know, we knew that Dallas was going to be a good team, especially with that trade, getting Spencer Dinwiddie. at the trade deadline. That was very questionable because you give up a top talent. What, maybe you could argue say top 50 player in the game, and Porzingis maybe top 60 right now. You give that up and you get Spencer Dinwiddie, who a year ago was coming off a torn ACL when he was playing with the Nets, and he's scoring in bunches for them. He's getting it done. And that also creates more space for Luka to operate, because now you got another shot facilitator who could come off the bench and on a night like this could give you 28. So it was like Dallas did what they had to do, man. I'm very, very surprised. A lot of people had the Phoenix Suns advancing and beating Dallas, but hey, listen, stuff like that happens in the NBA. You get shot like that, and it's a make or miss league, and it just happened that night. Phoenix weren't making their baskets, and it really, really did cost them. But now you gotta look to the future, pertaining to the Suns. What's going to happen with Ayton, as I mentioned earlier. Chris Paul's a year older. Devin Booker, he's not going anywhere. But you got to look at this roster. It's like, okay, what can we do to bring in somebody or bring in a couple key pieces to put us back in position next year? Is Ayton that guy? Is DeAndre Ayton, are you seriously going to sit down and give him the full max that he wants? To me personally, I say you give him the max, because if you don't give Ayton the max, another team will. And when you take DeAndre Ayton off the Suns, you significantly make them weaker. Look at Rudy Gobert. He's got the max. He's not known as an offensive player. He's known more for his defense. That's why he's a 3-time defensive player of the year. He got the max money because of his prowess on the defensive end. Now he's a liability on the offensive end, kind of like DeAndre Jordan to a lesser degree. But he still is impactful in other areas of the game. So it was like, okay, if you sign him to the max, are you going to tell Ayton, hey, we need you to focus on one side of the basketball? That's defending, rebounding, and shot blocking. Your offense is not really that there yet. Obviously, he's got a nice little hook shot. He could shoot from about 15 range, but that's about it. He can't stretch the floor. He can't knock down jump shots. He doesn't really have a handle. So his offensive game is limited. And plus, if you foul him, the hacker Ayton, he'll knock down a couple free throws. He's not a bad free throw shooter like Shaq, but it's still a liability on the offensive end because you don't know what type of performance you're going to get from Ayton. He's too inconsistent. Some nights you'll get 20 and 15 or 22 and 13, and sometimes you get a performance like tonight, less than, 12 points and a couple rebounds. It's like, that's not, if you want to be that big max contract guy, 5 years, $180+ million, $200+ million, we need you to get at least 23 and 12. But no, in today's NBA, everybody's getting the max, specifically, pertaining to their role. So they got some tough decisions to make. You're going to keep Ayton. Chris Paul's getting older. Do you maybe look to trade guys like Cam Johnson, maybe JaVale McGee? Do you bring him back? Do you, Crowder too? Crowder ain't give you much. 5 points tonight's game. So Phoenix got some tough decisions to make. But shout out to the Dallas Mavericks, man. They're moving on to face Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, the first time since 2011. And guess who's on the 2011 Mav team that won the whole damn thing? Who's coaching now for the exact same team? Jason Kidd. So give a shout out to him, man. Dallas surprised everybody. And listen, they have a legitimate shot at beating Golden State. They really do. Do not sleep on the Mavs. I'll talk about that in the next video, but do not sleep on Dallas. I think Golden State will win, but the Dallas Mavericks have a puncher shot at dethroning the Golden State Warriors. Worlds TV, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video out to everybody. Subscribe as well, too. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.